Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm David Mencer, Israeli government spokesman. Today is Wednesday, the 17th of April 2024, day 194 of the October 7th war. Let no one be in any doubt whatsoever. Our war aims remain precisely the same: to bring home all of our 133 hostages, to destroy Hamas, and to ensure that Gaza never becomes a threat to us ever again. First, I want to begin with an update from COGAT, which coordinates aid into Gaza. I would point you to pictures available from COGAT, which of markets laden with food and produce at markets in northern Gaza. Yesterday, we told you about more than 450 aid trucks on the Gazan side of Kerem Shalom. We told you that the aid was languishing, just waiting to be picked up by the UN for distribution and dispersal to Gazans. Very few outlets covered this story, so the aid is still there. Today, however, the contents of 700 aid trucks pile up. Let me say that again: 700 trucks waiting on the Gazan side of Kerem Shalom, waiting to be picked up by UN agencies. Israel has scaled up our capabilities. Out of almost 6,000 trucks of aid that entered Gaza in the last month alone, more than 99.5% were cleared to enter Gaza. All the UN has done is make up excuses. Aid needs to be collected and delivered. The UN needs to do its job. Just yesterday, 376 humanitarian aid trucks went into Gaza, out of which 105 trucks were transferred via the Jordanian route. 98 pallets containing tens of thousands of meals were airdropped over northern Gaza. Next, on Iran's attack on Israel, the government and the people of Israel very much appreciate the solidarity visit of the UK Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron and the German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock in the discussions with our President Herzog this morning, with the Prime Minister and with Foreign Minister Israel Katz. We are encouraged by their commitment to upgrading diplomatic pressure on Iran, together with sanctions and designating Iran's IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, as a terrorist organization. These are the steps that send the right message to the tyrants of Tehran, that the international community will follow up their words with deeds. It goes without saying, when we speak about Iran, we mean the regime in Iran and not the people of Iran, who are as much victims of the regime's aggression as Israel. We thank nations the world over for standing with Israel. On Saturday night, when Israel faced this heinous attack of 350 ballistic missiles, of cruise missiles, armed suicide drones, nations rallied to our call to defend Israel, not just diplomatically, but with deeds as well. It is true that the true damage of the attack was limited. Our combined defenses eliminated 99% of the attack. But let me make this clear: that was not Iran's intention. When it sent 350 ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, armed suicide drones, make no mistake, Iran's intention was to cause massive disruption and death. We judge Iran by their intention. This country will be defended. On the hostages, 133 of them, as the Jewish festival of Passover approaches, millions of families here in Israel and the world over will gather around the Seder table, the traditional meal in which Jewish families gather together to read the story of the Exodus, of our freedom from slavery and bondage in Egypt. This year, it will be in the painful absence of many, many loved ones. I want to mention Shlomo Mansour, an 86-year-old Holocaust survivor. and the oldest hostage in captivity. And Alex Danzig, a 75-year-old historian, and Chaim Perry, who marked his 80th birthday in captivity last week. Chaim saved his own wife's life by going out to confront the terrorists while she hid in a shelter. These are three beloved grandfathers who traditionally lead the Seder meal, as in my own household. Their families will have immense difficulty celebrating this holiday of freedom without them. Almost 200 days on, as Moses in ancient times said, "Let my people go." Shalach et ami in Hebrew. To Hamas we say today, almost 200 days on, lay down your arms and let my people go now. That is the end of our briefing today. I will now take your questions, which you should put in the chat with your news outlet. Thank you very much. First question, please.
Thank you. First question, Jim Williams, Zenger International News. Does the PM agree with Jake Sullivan, who stated that anyone who thinks that Iran wasn't attempting to harm Israel is crazy?
Jim, thank you very much for your question. I've seen reports in many places that this was somehow to try and downplay the importance of this huge attack of 350 ballistic missiles, rockets, suicide drones, interballistic missiles aimed at this country. Anyone that tries to downplay these attacks simply strengthens the Iranians, simply strengthens the Iranian regime. This was a serious attack. It was an outrageous attack. It was an unprecedented attack. Iran, of course, is, I think, the only nation that actively calls for the destruction of another UN member, Israel. Iran, we know, is behind all the terror in this region. It's a malign influence. Every country which they enter becomes a failed state. We simply ask other countries, what would you do if just one of these ballistic missiles landed anywhere in your capitals, in any city or any part of your country? This country will be defended. Next question, please.
Thank you. Question from Joel Pollack, Breitbart News. Yesterday, the White House said that talks with Iran on a nuclear deal with moribund. Is that Israel's assessment as well? And how does Israel view efforts at reopening the nuclear deal?
Jim, thank you. Joel, excuse me. Thank you very much for that question. So I'm pleased you mentioned that point, because we here in Israel simply imagine, what if one of these warheads which came towards us, one of the 350 launches which was launched against our people on Saturday night, what if just one of them was a nuclear warhead, had a nuclear warhead? The results would have been catastrophic, which means that we can never, ever allow Iran to become a nuclear weapons power. It cannot be allowed to happen. And any deal whatsoever which somehow seeks to appease Iran in any way, shape or form, it won't work. We know from bitter history that appeasement does not work. It doesn't only make things worse, it actually emboldens the aggressor. And aggressors, unfortunately, need to be stood up to and not appeased. Thank you for that question, Joel. Next question, please.
Next question is from Alon Avital, NPR. What can you say about the ongoing preparation for a Rafah operation?
Thank you for that question about Rafah. The government has made clear, and the Prime Minister has made clear, that the four Hamas battalions that remain in Rafah will be defeated. We cannot leave, as our minister as our minister in the Security Cabinet has made clear, Benny Gantz, we cannot put out 80% of this heinous, evil fire of of Hamas. We cannot put out 80% of the fire and leave 20% of the fire still roaring, because that 20% will take over Gaza again and they will attack us. We say this because this is precisely what Hamas say. They want to attack us again and again and again. In order to get back to a peaceful coexistence in this region, we need to destroy Hamas. Hamas are against peace. They're against the Palestinian people. They're against civilization. They're against democracy. They're against freedom of religion. They're against all the freedoms which all decent countries take for granted. So that is why we feel here in Israel that we're on the front line of civilization. We need to destroy this organization. The last 4 battalions of Hamas are in Rafah, and they will be defeated. If we do not do that, it will be a defeat for Israel. So yes, the Prime Minister has made clear that a date has been identified and we are making preparations. Next question, please.
Next question, first question from Hannah Julian of the Jewish Press. Does Israel consider Sunday's attack to be a formal declaration of war by Iran?
Thank you very much for that question, Hannah. Those were the words, actually, of our president, who described the attack as a declaration of war. So I would go after the words which our presidents used, which our President Herzog used. He called it a declaration of war.
Next question from Hannah Julian, the Jewish Press. 13 people were wounded less than an hour ago in an attack by Hezbollah. Is the United States and or other nations tying Israel's hands in responding to these attacks, or is the issue one of limited military resources on part of Israel?
Thank you for that question. Look, people ask us all the time whether we're going to respond to Iran all the time, and our answer is we're being attacked by Iran every single day, by Hezbollah, their proxy. Make no mistake, we know that everything Hezbollah does, as with Hamas as well, is directed by the tyrants in Tehran. They are directing us all the time. They are directing war at us. They are attacking us every single day. Now, we've made this quite clear as well, that we Israel, desire a diplomatic resolution to the situation up north. UN resolutions make extremely clear that Hezbollah should be behind the Litani River. Now, we wish for that to happen diplomatically. We've got no interest in any war with the people of Lebanon. But if that does not happen diplomatically, you should heed my words very carefully. We will push them back. It's not what we wish, it's not what we desire, but they will be pushed back in the same way that we have defeated and destroyed almost 3/4 of Hamas's battalions in Gaza. We will do the same in Lebanon and Syria if a diplomatic resolution is not reached. Next question, please.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me today. There'll be another briefing tomorrow at the same time, at the same place. Thank you very much.